warning, shift to park because there's a pole in front of me.
Let's check out how horrible the depreciation has been on the Lincoln Navigator.
Okay, so today we're going to be focusing on the new vehicles coming out in the modern day world, specifically the amount of tech and lack of quality that everything seems to have. I mean, we have car engines completely shutting down with a few thousand or a few hundred miles on the odometer, electrical malfunctions making the entire vehicle completely immobile. We even have manufacturers purposely making these vehicles near impossible to repair in the first place, all while we're supposed to be paying top dollar for a depreciating asset that will maybe make it to a little bit over 100,000 miles. Gone are the days that you see 200, 300, 400,000 miles on the odometer anymore. That's just out of the question now. And I think we're starting to see the beginning of people changing their sentiment towards buying new vehicles. So hopefully at least something begins to change, but we have a lot of examples to go over today along with some of your comments from previous videos. So if you want to be featured on a future video, leave it in the comments down below. But let's just start off with what they're making these cars out of now.
I know cars are getting cheaper and cheaper. This is a Ford with a 3.5 liter in it. That's the water pump down there, and that's plastic. This is a plastic water pump. Basically, any accessory on this engine is just plastic. And if you could tell, it already has a coolant leak. So that's just great. Building it with real quality now.
Now, this wouldn't be that egregious if any of these cars were reasonably priced, but they're not. We're seeing Wranglers at $50,000, $60,000. Same thing with the Ford vehicles. If you're talking about pickup trucks in general right now, you could get into the six figures if you want an F-250 or a 350 now, all while they are covered with plastic parts. And that's not the only problem. We're seeing these cars shut down and have problems earlier and earlier into their life.
My new truck is blown up.
I keep seeing these videos of all these new cars with engine failures, and it's just shocking to me. This one actually made it to 10,000 miles. I mean, 10,000 miles. What more can you ask out of a new car than to get 10,000 miles out of it?
I know that those types of clips are meant to poke fun, but like I said at the beginning of the video, you're hoping for 100,000, maybe 150,000 miles, but it's extremely rare to find somewhat modern vehicles hitting the 250, 300,000 miles. Now, you could still get that with some older vehicles with the proper maintenance. The funny part is that all those older vehicles went through depreciation, so they're relatively cheap compared to the brand new MSRP for any of the new cars that we saw. Any of the GMC pickup trucks, the Yukons, we're talking like $80,000 now. They're so expensive. And one of the arguments for the high price tags is all the new tech in it. Everything's electronic. It's got the iPad screens everywhere and all the extra assistance that wasn't around a couple decades ago. And then you start seeing clips like this.
This is why I hate new cars. I go to reverse. Warning, 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 shift to park because there's a pole in front of me because they parked as close to the pole as possible. Look what it does when I go to put it in reverse. It automatically parks itself. Reverse. Let off the park. It parks itself. How I can't move the car because it's parking itself because of the light pole. Because of a sensor. This is stupid.
So is that guy just stuck there now because it thinks that it's about to crash into something else? We could look at a couple of comments. If you're in reverse, why does it care what's in front of you? Wife's car occasionally slams into park while reversing because it detects the driveway. Nice. And I wish I could say that this is just one-off clips. Not very common, but I probably could have made an entire video of just very weird electronic malfunctions or the sensors in the car messing up like they thought he was just going to run into a pole. I remember in one of my older videos videos, we saw a brand new Subaru that the entire center console was just one big screen and it was completely locked unless the woman took out her phone and opened up an app on her phone, and then it fixed the center console. I don't even know how that happens. We might have crossed a line into having too much electronics, too much tech in these cars, because the bugs that are coming out are absolutely insane.
Watch what happens when I try to start it. Same thing. Full accessory power active. Okay, now watch. I'm gonna turn it off again. Because there is actually a way to get it to start. Would you like to see how? It was so cute, like a month ago. Okay, we're gonna auto start it. And she kicks on. Yay, right? Start. She stays on. Cool, cool, cool. Love that. Fantastic. You can hear the engine. Okay. But then as soon as I put it into drive, I hate it here.
We could take a look at some of the comments. Ford Tech here, definitely something wrong with the computer system. Another one, if it's a hybrid, maybe a low cell and HV battery, would advise to disconnect the battery and reconnect it after a night. I like how it's basically the same advice if your internet stopped working and you call your ISP and they're like, have you tried disconnecting it and reconnecting it again? But now you got to do it with your car, I guess. My husband always says to never buy the newest model because there's always glitches and hiccups. And you don't want to be the sucker who gets a glitch or hiccup model from the newest batch. I get it now. All while they want you to pay $50,000, $60,000. A new Explorer, let me see. So the base model of a new Explorer is $41,000 and then the ST starts at $55,000. So you could probably get over 60.
Just imagine buying a new 2020 for Kia Telluride with 0 miles and the engine blows up at 6,000 miles. Dealership put a new engine in. Now the new engine won't stop overheating and it sounds like an old VU. P-Car.
And here we go. Auto park disabled. SOS unavailable. Service the airbag system. What else? There's got to be more. Park sense unavailable. Service required. Parking brakes unavailable. Oh, and we have no power steering.
I feel like I could have made this video an hour long just showing example after example of cars having every issue under the sun now. And I know a lot of people think it's insane to get a new car right now because of all these issues, and why are people still going to the dealership and paying for this? And we have a comment from one of you guys with your experience. The wife and I just bought a car last week. The salesman didn't even want to mention the price. He only wanted to talk about how low our payment would be. He was happy to push the loan term out to 60, 72, 84 months just to get the payments down until we were comfortable. Just ignore the fact that you're going to be paying for this for 6, 7, 8 years. He was taken aback and almost confused when I started negotiating the full price and said I didn't care what the payment was as long as I got a good deal. But that is the perfect tactic to push these cars on people. We're seeing others pay $1,000 a month, $1,200 a month, right? Insane prices still in 2025. So if you could push it down to, oh, it's only $500 a month or $550, ignore the fact that you're going to be paying this off for years longer than you should. Some people will still pull the trigger and buy and unfortunately get burned. I mean, what's going on with some of these manufacturers?
Crawled under my Chevy 2500 ZR2 to replace the fuel filter today. This is what 15,000 miles look like on a 2024 Chevy 2500 ZR2 look like. This is 15,000 miles in.
Late December, my husband and I bought a car. I loved it. I was so excited about it. It was a 3-row Jeep Wagoneer. And eventually, we were driving it home and it died. The electrical just died while we were driving it. That's weird. My husband had to restart it while we were driving it on the freeway. We pick up our kids. We drive home from picking up our kids. It dies 2 more times.
This is my friendly reminder for y'all that if you're considering buying a Hyundai, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. So I bought the 2024 Santa Fe. I think a lot of you have heard the saga by now. I bought it in May. The transmission went out in October. It has been at Hyundai undrivable since October 14th.
I'm just going to cut it off here. We could probably have 10 more stories similar to this. The first woman with the Wagoneer, I believe it died 6 or 7 times in total, all while being an $80,000 vehicle. But we have a comment from one of you guys. Looking at buying a 2010 Civic to replace my 2003 Civic. Never been so excited. I do know that that's a huge solution right now, buying older vehicles in the 2010s, even though they don't look flashy at all. They're much more reliable compared to anything new. Even if they do start breaking down, the maintenance is much cheaper. However, what happens if the exact same thing that's happening in 2025 happens for the next 10, 15, 20 years? Still terrible vehicles coming out, nothing's reliable, it's just getting more and more expensive. The vehicles that came out in 2000 or 2010 are starting to disappear because no matter what, they still do have a shelf life, even if we're talking 2, 3, 400,000 miles. So there will come a point that the 2010 or the 2003 Civic won't be an option anymore. Here we have another clip that I wanted to put in because I think this was a lot more prevalent during COVID and everybody paying over sticker because there was such little inventory that people were traveling all around just to be able to buy a new vehicle.
Hey guys, today marks 2 weeks since we returned my dream mom car back to the dealership in a repurchase. And I've seen a lot of comments from everyone, and one of the key ones is that no manufacturer is safe. Like, they all have issues, and it's just one of those random things that you could get one. But one of the biggest lessons that we have learned in going through this process was that we will not purchase a brand new vehicle or any vehicle from a dealership that isn't local to us. Because once we started having issues within the first week, they asked us to bring it back. And we bought the vehicle 3 hours away from us. That was a 6-hour round trip.
So imagine if you are one of these people where it just starts breaking down, shutting off in the middle of the highway, and they tell you to bring it back to the dealership. You're going to have it towed 3 hours away. And we can look at one of the comments here, and I know that this is another solution that so many people are talking about right now, which I don't disagree with overall, but this is why I purchased the Toyota 4Runner and my wife a Lexus GX. My 4Runner doesn't have any sensors, and the GX is very low tech. I even change the oil myself. So specifically the Honda and Toyota products, which turns into Lexus and Acura as well, are overall more reliable than most of the manufacturers we're seeing today. It doesn't completely rule them out for having problems right now. They definitely do have some, but both Honda and Toyota know the popularity they have. Do you see the new MSRP for the 4Runner or the Land Cruiser or the GX 550, the Acura MDX? Very, very expensive vehicles now. So maybe the next step for people is, hey, I'll buy a used one 4 or 5 years old. You go looking up online and they barely depreciate. The MSRP for a 4Runner TRD Pro was around $55,000 brand new, and you could look up online right now with 50, 60,000 miles, couple years old, 2020-ish model will be $50,000, and that goes for many of the Honda and Toyota products across the board now. Here we have a quick clip that's not specifically the car's fault, but adding into maybe there's a little too much tech in our world, everybody following everything that we do.
Tell me why my GPS say that I'm 36 minutes away from work and that I work at the casino. First of all, stay out my business. Second of all, I gotta do better. I'm ashamed.
So right off the bat, probably not the best if your iPhone thinks that you work at the casino. If you're going there that often, probably a gambling problem. But now if you connect your phone to your car at a certain time of day, it automatically thinks you're going to work. Won't even ask you, just plugs in and starts going right away. Why does everything have to be automated and track you nonstop? I know again that it was the cell phone, it wasn't the car, but we've seen articles previously come out that these modern cars do track you through GPS, sell your data to your insurance company so they could raise the premium if they don't like the way that you drive, the way that you brake. And it's not even just for the people who are speeding, flying, going way faster than you should be. If somebody jumps out and cuts you off and you slam on the brakes, all it shows in the data is that you're a bad driver. You slammed on your brakes, and enough of those ticks on your profile will raise your insurance even higher than it already is. We're basically living in a dystopia, and I know almost everything since the beginning has mostly been American cars, but when we start looking at recalls and the lack of quality control, it is completely across the board.
These are the top 10 most recalled auto brands of 2024, ranked by the number of units affected, and I bet at least a few of these results will surprise you. Kicking things off at number 10, we have Volkswagen, who issued 18 recalls this year, affecting 1,088,407 units. Number 9, Hyundai, 25 recalls affecting 1.1 million units, and they're followed closely by number 8, Kia, with 19 recalls, 1.21 million units. Toyota takes 7th place, believe it or not, with 1.22 million units affected across 16 recalls. Number 6, BMW, 36 recalls, 1.83 million units affected. Number 5, General Motors, 33 recalls, 1.87 million units affected. And then we have a big jump to Honda. 4th place, 18 recalls, 3.79 million units affected, which brings us to our top 3. Starting with Ford, who is probably happy since they've taken the top spot on this list for the last 3 years. 62 total recalls, 4.37 million units affected. Number 2, probably no surprise here, Stellantis, 67 total recalls affecting 4.72 million units. Those guys took an absolute beating this year, but they did manage to stay out of the top spot because number 1 is Tesla. 15 recalls, 5.13 million units affected.
And I know it's not like every one of these recalls are for catastrophic engine failure and completely seizing the car. Many of them are for minor problems, but it doesn't change the fact that the quality control for the vehicles coming out of the factory are terrible if there are so many recalls and millions, tens of millions of units being affected in 1 year. And even with the more reliable brands, Toyota and Honda, both of them were in this video. We can look at some of the comments. Not surprised by Toyota, they lost their touch. Their new Tundras were having engine failures. I know something was wrong with the transmission in some Tacomas. I believe the Grand Highlander had some problems as well. As a Honda tech, all I do is recalls all day, every day. I mean, with my Tesla, all I had to do was update it in my driveway, then it was fixed. I don't think too many people could have done that with the new Cybertruck recall, but my 2023 F-150 stayed in the shop for 6 months and I had to file a lemon law for transmission issues. Speaking of it being in the shop for a long period of time, we're starting to see manufacturers make parts for their vehicle that are near impossible for you to fix. So any of the right to repair gets thrown out the window. Going to independent mechanics are much more expensive now because the amount of tech they need to have just to be able to diagnose the issue for your new car is beginning to push them out of business. So the only place you could go is the Toyota dealership or the Mercedes dealership, and you think you paid a lot at the mechanics? Oh, it's going to be brutal.
Okay, I want to show you guys something at Con Expo. This is the new DT12 automatic transmission. Here's some really cool things about the engineering on it. So they won't sell you anything to repair this transmission. You can't buy the parts, they won't tell you how to repair it. All Detroit will do is sell you a new one. So if you grenade this transmission, they'll just sell you a brand new transmission. That's it. You can't fix it, you can't take it to a repair shop. It is pure planned obsolescence. And we asked the guys, like, how come you can't repair it? How come it's only re and re? And they said, oh, it's too complicated for somebody to change. It's just gears. It is just pure gears. They said you need a $4.5 million machine if you want to be able to service this truck transmission. This is exactly what we stand against at Edison Motors. This planned obsolescence that you can't repair it, we won't even sell you the parts, you need to just buy a new one. You can't fix it yourself. That's what they want. That's what we're going to, and this is bull.
And I know that this is for a truck, but you don't think that this is slowly being rolled out to every car that you could think of? You know how much more money these companies would make if something broke in the car? Now you have to go to a dealership to be able to get it fixed, but you just have to have the entire thing replaced. There is no fixing anymore. How much more expensive is that going to be? We're going to get to a point where something breaks and oh, you just got to throw it out, buy a brand new car, just spend another $40,000 or $50,000 on another SUV. And it could be even more than that, because even with the declining sales we're starting to see month over month, you could go to car lots and see some of these prices.
Over $96,000 for this Bronco Raptor, and you don't even get a V8. And honestly, this isn't even Ford's biggest issue. At this Ford dealership, they have an Explorer that's been here over 500 days, and I'll show you that in a minute. Right after I show you this truck, $124,000 for this. It's just an F-150. But they add that aftermarket package, that Black Ops is what they call it here. At GM, we were seeing, and even Ford, I saw a Black Widow package. Now this is a Black Ops package, which increased the price dramatically. And in all reality, you're going to lose so much money because this does not actually increase the value of the vehicle. It's still an F-150. That's $124,000. And is that a 2023? Yes, it is. It's kind of what's to be expected considering it's been sitting here for, I think it was 300 and something days, so not quite as long as this Explorer. But let's go check the Explorer that's literally been here 500 in 5 days today.
We could take a look at a couple of the comments. I remember when 100,000 was supercar money, and now it's a all murdered out F-150. 125,000, 124K for a $57,000 truck. That's insane. Imagine how upside down you'll be immediately. The moment you drive away, it's worth $40,000, and that's why I was sitting there for a year. And apparently that Explorer of 500 days. We have a comment from one of you guys that adds on to it. I worked for Mercedes for a while. Stay away from the EQs. We loaned one out and the car caught fire in the customer's garage. These are absolute anchors at the dealership as well. Nobody wants them. The depreciation is unbelievable, so that's why they're loaning them out. Unfortunately, it caught fire because, you know, the whole thing's just a big battery. I've seen clips with the EV Hummers doing the exact same thing, but there was also a comment from the last clip saying, with that money, just go buy a Mercedes or BMW. So we could take a look at the six-figure BMWs.
So for those of you who think I'm lying when I say BMW has quality issues, this is a $138,000 X5M, and I already found a big issue. If you look at the floor liner, you won't think anything of it until you realize that this floor liner is hovering. And if you take this off, you'll see that the floor liner is bubbled up. This is not supposed to be like that. This is supposed to be flat. Like the passenger side is flat. This side is completely bubbled up. Like there is air in here or something. And I don't know exactly how to fix it, but this entire thing needs to go in for warranty service, unfortunately, and I've only had this car for 3 days. That's the only major issue I found. The only other issue I found on this car is the stitching in a lot of places is already coming off, you guys can see. And if you notice over here on the dash console, the leather is already peeling, like it's not stuck. That's peeling leather right over there.
We could take a look at the comments. That's major issues. When I pay $140,000 for a car, yes, any issue on a brand new car is major, of course, especially when they have to disassemble the entire interior. The stitching and the leather already peeling off when it's brand new. Again, for $140,000, it better be perfect. But no, it's got the Mercedes logo or the BMW logo, so people are buying it just to show off to other people. Look at how much money I have. Doesn't matter that the quality actually sucks. BMW cars are the biggest money pit in the world. Zero reliability. And we have another comment from one of you guys that adds on to this. People spend more time researching dinner than researching a car. The second biggest purchase in their life. A lot of the time, it's solely based on looks. I know the Kia Telluride was very popular during COVID because it didn't really look like a Kia, but as we saw earlier in the video, they have their own fair share of problems shutting down. I think it was only a few thousand miles. So with the increased cost of the MSRP, them constantly breaking down and then just maintaining and fixing it, no wonder you start seeing stories like this.
Breaking car repossessions have surged to their highest level since the Great Recession in 2009. Last year, almost 2 million people got their cars repoed. Translation, more and more people are struggling because they don't have any money, and car payments and car repossessions are reflecting it. So the silent recession we've been having over the past couple of years is about to get much louder. In addition to the amount of record car repos last year, the amount of subprime borrowers that are more than 2 months late on their car payments hit a record high in January. Keep in mind that right now, the typical monthly car payment is $748 a month.
And that's actually lower compared to what we're about to see. But more and more videos are popping up telling other people to not make their mistakes, especially younger. You just get out of high school or college and you want a really nice car and you don't realize how expensive this becomes at the end of the day.
Y'all, the reason why I'm sharing this information with you guys, because I don't want you guys to be like 17 thinking about getting your dream car. If you don't have the money for it, don't get it. You know what I'm saying? And to be honest with you, I just want to document my journey, how I'm going to get rid of it, right? So basically, boom, I financed this car. The vehicle in total was $39,000, right? But I was upside down $10,000, basically like $10,000. But it is what it is. I financed it for 14, what is it called? It's called APR, something like that, 14%. I financed that for that, and my loan was $46,000, right, y'all? Almost 2 years later, I still have $40,000 on the car. Me struggling right now, my mom doesn't know I'm struggling. My mom is struggling too, and it's just like, it's hard because like, I've been making the ends meet with DoorDash. If it wasn't for DoorDash, I wouldn't even be I wouldn't even be able to eat.
So using that $46,000 car for DoorDash, he didn't even know what interest rates were, the APR with 14%, and that's how you quickly get into major debt. 14%, they scammed you. When you saw $1,200 a month payments, you should have walked out. And I have seen a whole bunch of memes with people rolling in negative equity. She had an extra $10,000. When you're trading in your $72,000 BMW and the dealer offers you $17,000, but you still owe $49,000 on it.
No, don't say that.
And shockingly, when you get to these modern vehicles, the depreciation is unbelievable. Just within a couple of years, it is a fraction of the price. So if you do realize that you're getting screwed on these monthly payments and you want to get out of it, you are not going to get nearly the amount of money that you think.
Let's check out how horrible the depreciation has been on the Lincoln Navigator. So here we have a brand new Lincoln Navigator Black Label for sale right now for $128,000. First of all, I don't know who's going and paying almost $130,000 for a Lincoln Navigator when there's so many better choices out there. Like if you just want a big, nice American SUV, go get an Escalade. Like who's getting this over an Escalade? Makes no sense. And here we have a 4-year-old Lincoln Navigator Black Label with 26,000 miles for $51,000. So if you bought this car brand new, you would have lost yourself almost $80,000 in less than 4 years. Since this is depreciated so much, does it mean it's a safe purchase now? Absolutely not. This is not a car that's ever really going to bottom out. It's going to continue to depreciate, but as time goes on, the depreciation rate will slow.
We can look at some of the comments. Escalade is not better than a Navigator. The $128,000 is insane from the beginning. Escalade engines are blowing up. We saw that earlier with the Yukon. I think it had 9,000 miles or maybe 19,000 miles and it was gone. The last clip I think perfectly shows how out of touch these manufacturers are with their customer base now, because they really just don't know what the people want now.
I have never seen discounts like this on a brand new car. Looks like Dodge dealers are having a horrible time trying to sell the new Dodge Charger Daytona. The discounts are insane. Here's a brand new Dodge Charger Daytona right now. MSRP $62,000. They are discounting it to $39,000. That's $22,000 off of MSRP on a brand new car. That's almost a 40% discount on a brand new car. That's insane. That's unheard of. There's another one, over $20,000 discount, and another one, over $20,000 discount. I really don't blame people for not wanting this car. Like, what is this design? I don't understand it, but if you understand it and you're looking for one, great time to buy one.
Surprisingly, people didn't want the high-tech EV Dodge when the previous version was so popular because of the giant motor. On top of the lack of reliability with Stellantis as a whole, I would venture to guess that this car would cost you even more money just to maintain it. But that's all I got for you guys today. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. YouTube thinks you'll like this video popping up on screen right now, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, and I'll talk to you guys later.